Hey, hello everybody. Hey guys, how are you all going? Welcome to MMW Day with your girl Reg, and I'm joining you from Perth. Alright, we're gonna move things up a little. We're gonna juggle. We're just gonna, put some pressure in there and just keep this thing on the move. You know what? Just ignore what I just said. Yeah, welcome to Wednesday. Today's MMW Day, and I'm your girl Reg, and I'm joining you from Perth. And like I will always say, life is good. God is great and situations are awesome. When we go through situations and challenges in life, guess what? They make you unbeatable, unbreakable, and man, you are undefeatable. This is the African story. I'm so thrilled that you're joining me today. So, wherever you're joining me from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day. You are welcome, and I am going to KISS. Keep it simple and stupid, and we will be out of here in time. So, I'm your host for today, y'all. The weather is beautiful out there. Wow, this is Perth weather, and Perth weather is beautiful. Well, I'm loving the weather. I'm like feeling myself right now. I'm like super like feeling myself. Anyways, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supportive towards, this mental health Africa, recording. For the past 3 weeks, we've been talking about mental health, guys. We've been talking about mental health and the stigma associated with mental illness. Mainly we focused on Africans and Africans in Africa and also Africans in overseas. All right, so we have talked about our audience have been Africans and how we can improve our responses when it comes to mental illness and how we can change the negative experiences or the negative responses associated with mental illness to positive responses, and how we as a community, we as individuals, and we as a collective team have a part to play in making sure that people with a mental illness step forward when they're going through issues with their mental health, and how we can support them and how we can encourage them to voice out what they're going through. So yes, with that recording, we've had a lot of responses. We've had a lot of support and a lot of feedback from our audiences, and this is amazing. I wasn't anticipating this much feedback, okay? So yeah, we've had a lot of feedback, but one in particular I want to share with you. And the reason why I want to share this one, because I think that there are a lot of people who's going through what this girl has gone through, or who is going through what this girl is going through. Yeah, do you get what I mean? Never mind. Now, a lot of people have gone through what this girl has gone through, and a lot of people are going through what she has gone through. And when she shared her story with me, I took permission to bring it to MMW so that we can change lives together, so that we can change the world together. So I want you to hear this story. So this girl, she wrote to me and she told me her struggles with mental health and also with her mental state. And she told me that she's had struggles during pregnancy and also after pregnancy, after birth. And let me just give you a little bit of background information about this girl. She is an African girl and she's about 25 years old. She's an international student who came from Africa to study, and she's been in Australia. She's lived in Australia for less than 4 years. And in her process of living in Australia, or in her time here, she became pregnant for the man that she was dating and the boy that she was in love with. So when she became pregnant, her partner that she was with told her that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the pregnancy because he feel like she has trapped him into getting pregnant so that she can get her residency in Australia, so that she can get her visa. So because of that, he said he doesn't want to have anything to do with the pregnancy. So this girl has struggled throughout this pregnancy. You can already start to imagine how difficult things must have been for her. She's an international student. That means she doesn't have Medicare, that she's not covered by the system, that she's not a resident. If she's having, if she's vomiting, if she's having serious complications, she has to pay out of pocket money to go and see the GP or to go to the hospital. So you can already imagine the intensity and the trauma, that her situation is causing her already. And she said during the process of pregnancy, she felt like she's lost herself because most of the time she'll be crying, most of the time she was depressed, most of the time she was stressed and she wasn't eating well. And at some stage, when she gave birth, the baby came, things became even harder because she's a new mother. She's young, she's 25 years old, and she doesn't know what it means to be a mother. She doesn't know how to look after a baby, she doesn't know what to expect. And she said with all these things in mind, she began to feel, she started to became traumatic. She was traumatic. The experience traumatized her, and she started going through postpartum depression, and she started going through paranoia ideation. In some stage she'll be hallucinating. And she said at some point in her life she contemplated self-harm to herself because all she wanted to do is get away from the intensity of her situation. And she said there was nobody to support her, there was nobody to help her because she doesn't know a lot of people here, she doesn't know people here. And there was no psychological support, there was no physical support, there was no emotional support, and she was just by herself with this child and not knowing what to expect and how to care for the child. In the process, her also struggling with her mental health. And she said, but she went on to Google one day. She started to Google local communities that she could join so that she can get some bit of support from the women that are in the community. She said she found a community group that she went to, and she joined this community group. She went 2 or 3 times, and then she started explaining her story to them. She said mainly she spoke to the elders of the group, people who are older than her, so that they can give her experiences, so that they can help her, so that they can tell her what to do. So she spoke to the elders of the group, or of the community group that she was part of. And she said she was telling them her experiences and what she's going through and how scared she was, and how she's got this newborn baby and there is nobody to help her, there's nobody to teach her, and there is no support, and that she wasn't coping very well and she doesn't know what to do. And she said when she spoke to those women, 8 out of 10 women that she spoke to told her this. She said they told her, you are not the first person or the first woman to go through this, and you won't be the last. She said when we were in Africa, they said to her, when we were in Africa, we also went through this and we survived. At least you are in a country where there are many opportunities, regardless of you being an international student. And with us, there was no support. We had our children and we had to go to the market, we had to go to the farm, we had to cook, we had to clean, and we had to do everything. But we survived it. So if we can survive it, so can you. Lucky for you, this is a country where there are many opportunities. She said when they said this to her, at this point she just became mute, she became numb, and she stopped talking. She said she stopped talking because she felt like she wasn't being listened to. She said she stopped talking because she felt incompetent, she felt inadequate, she felt incapable, she felt like a failure. She felt like a failure to complain, to tell them what she's going through, as though she was weak. And based on their responses, she felt as though she was weak and that she's a failure. And so she stopped talking. And she said to me, I will go to the community group every fortnight and I will participate. But if they ask me, how are you going? I'll tell them I'm doing well, the baby is fine. But deep down inside me, I wasn't doing well. I was drowning. I was going through depression. I was going through hallucination. I was going through self-harm. I was thinking about things to do to myself so that I can run away from all the pain that I was experiencing. But I couldn't tell them that, because if I do, it will make me feel incapable and incompetent. And she said to me, so I had to internalize all the things I was going through. I had to internalize all the emotions, that I was going through, and just kept it to myself. And she said, being that I'm an international student, I couldn't go to seek a counselor, because if I had to go see a counselor, I would have paid out of pocket money to see a counselor, and I didn't have money to see the counselor. And she said at some stage I saved money and went to see the GP, only for him to prescribe medication for me, sleeping pills that would help me sleep at night, because I wasn't sleeping very well, I wasn't coping. So when she went to see the doctor, she was prescribed some sleeping pills, and she said when she got home, she would take those sleeping pills in the daytime. The reason why she would take them, so that she can sleep off, so that she can be so high that when she sleeps, she doesn't have to think about anything. She said that sleeping pills, or those sleeping pills, were her escape route. That every time she took them, she would feel so high and she would sleep off, and she didn't have to worry about the trauma that she was experiencing, the intensity of her situation. She didn't have to worry about, oh, how is my rent going to be paid? What's going to happen when the baby falls sick? Where am I going to get money to take her to the hospital? What's going to happen to me? She didn't have to think about all these things when she was asleep. And she said to me, at some stage when she slept off, she was so high that she slept off, and she heard the neighbor. He came to the door and started banging at the door, started knocking at the door very, very hard. And when she woke up, her baby was actually crying, and she took the baby and went and answered the door. And the neighbor said to her, like, I didn't know somebody was in there because I heard the baby crying. And she said for her, that was a wake up call for her. It was a wake up call. She had to shake herself up, and she had to tell herself, like, you need to stop this right now, because if you don't stop this, someone is going to get hurt. She said from that day forward, she stopped taking those sleeping pills to get high. She only took them when necessary, and she will make sure that the baby is safe before she take them. And she felt like she's lost herself. She lost herself during pregnancy. She's lost herself during motherhood, that she doesn't know what to do with herself, and she doesn't know how to discover herself. And therefore, she's been following MMW when we've been talking about, Mental Health Africa. She said she's been watching and she's been paying attention. But however, she said last week when we talked about self-care and mental health, she said that was an eye-opener for her. She was like, that recording on self-care and mental health has really helped her. She said, this is what she said to me. She was like, listening to self-care and mental health. She said listening to self-care and mental health has opened a window of the little things I can do now to rediscover myself, the little things I can do now to start loving myself again, the little things I can do now to start appreciating myself again, the little things I can do now to be the best mom I can be to my little girl. And she said to me, I realized when watching or when listening to self-care and mental health, I then realized that in order for me to be a good mom to my little girl, I first of all need to take care of myself. I have to take care of myself physically. I have to take care of myself mentally, so that I can be the support that she needs, so that I can be the backbone that she needs. And she was like, it was a revelation. It was a revelation to me when you were talking about the things you can do to care for yourself that will stop you from going into a mental illness dilemma, or that will stop you from going into depression, anxiety, stress, and panic attacks. And she was like, I am so grateful to you for that recording that you released last week, because this recording has set a foundation and has given me an idea about the little things I can put into place now to love myself, to care for myself, and to care for my little girl. When I listened to her, it brought tears to my eyes. It brought tears to my eyes. But she's gone through all this trauma, she's gone through all this pain, she's gone through all this suffering all by herself, and there is nobody to help her. And it also made me feel joyful to know, that MMW has helped somebody, is helping somebody out there, to rediscover themselves again, to plant their feet again. I just want to tell this girl, you've done so well. Thank you for getting in touch with me. It means a lot that you were able to share your story with us, that you're able to share your story with MMW. I mean, just like you, I have gone through a lot of things in my life as well. And one of the things that have kept me on top, one of the things that have, kept my head above water is self-care. The things that I put into place, the traditions that I put in place to make sure that I maintain my sanity, to make sure that I'm not depressed and I'm not running around like a woohoo. These things have helped me, and I'm glad to share them with you. And I'm glad that also you listening to this has also helped you, and you have found something that you can take away from the recording that you also can benefit from. So yeah, thank you so much. You're a hero. You are the superwoman, girl. You are the superwoman. You should be very proud of yourself. You should be very proud of yourself. You should give yourself a high five for the good work that you're doing for yourself and for your little girl. If anybody out there who's watching this and MMW has helped you in any way possible, please don't be quiet. Share your story with us. Remember, this is the African story. Share your story with us, and let's change the world together. Have a great week.